Greyjoy and I had only been dating for a month, yet it felt like we had known each other for years. I was enamored by him, addicted to the way he touched my waist, softly stroked my hair, and the lingering scent he left on the pillowcase after our kisses. He seemed like my soulmate, and I thought I knew everything about him. Unfortunately, that perception shattered when I discovered I didn't really know him at all. From the beginning, my family disapproved of Greyjoy. They described him as awkward, weird, and off-putting, expressing a strong, bad feeling about him. My dad, in particular, criticized his age and occupation, deeming a 32-year-old uneducated man with an entry-level job as unsuitable for his daughter. A heated argument ensued, exacerbating the strain in my relationship with my parents. Despite their disapproval, I defended Greyjoy, asserting that his role as a surgical technologist was more honorable than my dad's career as an accountant. The conflict escalated, and my parents made it clear that Greyjoy was not welcome in their home. This marked the beginning of a challenging chapter in my life, where love clashed with family disapproval, setting the stage for unforeseen events. Despite the mistreatment from my family, Greyjoy remained calm. Instead of getting upset, he embraced me warmly and proposed a simple solution. How about moving in with me? Though nervous, excitement fluttered in my gut. Greyjoy had a cozy mother-in-law apartment in the basement, spacious enough for the two of us. Since we already spent most of our time there, I left my parents' home every night, just in time to meet my midnight curfew. Following Greyjoy's suggestion, we moved my belongings while my parents were away, leaving them a note about my decision. Their reaction was predictable, an exaggerated flurry of voicemails and texts. "You're making a huge mistake. You've only known this guy for a couple of weeks. It's too soon to move in together. You don't understand what true love is. We raised you better." However, they failed to grasp the depth of our love. Greyjoy and I believed we were soulmates, and I felt fortunate to have found him so early in life. Cuddling on his futon, Greyjoy held me close, gently stroking my hair. He shared his perspective on cutting off the negativity from my family, insisting that they were hindering our happiness. Despite my hesitation and love for my family, Greyjoy claimed they just didn't understand. According to him, cutting ties was necessary for our freedom. Taking charge, he even drafted a text message announcing my decision to sever communication and blocked their numbers on my behalf. "Why don't I hold on to this for a while?" he suggested, slipping my phone into his pocket. "It'll only bring you negativity. I want you to be happy, and us to be happy." Loneliness crept in whenever he left for work, and despite suggesting I get a job, he insisted on taking care of both me and our bills. His condition for happiness was simple. As long as I waited for him at home, everything would be perfect. Although he permitted me to have my phone during his absence for texting, he took a step further by deleting my social media accounts, fearing interference from my family. One Friday night, he returned home, dressed in a suit, holding a lovely white dress. "Get dressed," he grinned. We're going out." "Where are we going?" I inquired. "Don't worry about it. It's a surprise." Putting on the dress, I was surprised by how well it fit. Greyjoy had curated my wardrobe, keeping what he liked and discarding the rest, ensuring he knew the perfect size for me. We spent a couple of hours driving until we arrived at a small white chapel, adorned with pink and blue neon lights. "We're getting married," he exclaimed after parking the car. "We'll be happy together for the rest of our lives." I hesitated at the unexpected turn of events. While we had discussed marriage as a future possibility, I hadn't anticipated it happening so soon. Yet, as Greyjoy insisted, we were soulmates, and delaying the inevitable would be a disservice to our love. Upon the officiant's command, he gently slid the sterling silver wedding band over my finger. It wasn't an extravagant ring, but he vowed that once he became a doctor, he'd gift me a fabulous one. The simplicity didn't bother me. I was content with the symbolism the ring held, valuing its meaning over its material. A week later, my parents discovered the truth. While Greyjoy was at work, I received a barrage of text messages from an alternate phone number my parents had somehow acquired. Their messages expressed concern and disapproval. "It's way too soon for marriage. You've only known him for a month. What are you doing? What about college? Don't throw your future away for that lowlife. How could you do this to us? Come home before you do anything stupid and we'll make the situation better. We have a lawyer who can make this like it never happened. He's manipulating you." When Greyjoy returned home, my eyes were stained pink, and the skin around them was raw and puffy from crying. Once again, I shared the hurtful messages my parents had sent, deepening the emotional toll of the situation. Greyjoy was so infuriated that he snatched my phone, reading the messages with an indignant expression. The phone clattered to the floor, and as it settled, he ruthlessly stomped on it until it shattered into pieces. Witnessing this violent outburst, I cried even harder, but Greyjoy's demeanor shifted to a soft yet fervent gaze. "Our love, our marriage is like a tree," he explained, "and we have to cut the bad fruit off the tree, my angel." Overwhelmed with sadness, I buried my face into his neck, mourning the symbolic destruction of my old life as I embraced the focus on the new one we were building together. Despite understanding it was for the best, a sense of grief lingered, akin to the feeling of losing my parents. He held me for what felt like hours, my mind in a dreamlike state as I tried to come to terms with the fact that my family would no longer be part of my new life. "I wish I had wings," I eventually uttered, my eyes depleted of tears. "I wish I had wings so I could just fly for a while." "Would that make you happy?" Greyjoy asked, his face wearing an indiscernible yet contemplative expression. "Yeah, wings would be nice," I admitted, a strange but uninvited smile appearing on my face. "I can do that," Greyjoy assured. "That would be sexy." I drifted into an uncertain slumber, unsure of the exact moment sleep claimed me. Throughout the night, Greyjoy remained steadfast in his position, providing a stable foundation for my peaceful rest as I nestled against his shoulder. It was his gentle whisper that roused me from my dreams, informing me that duty called and he had to head to work, promising a swift return. When Greyjoy came back later that day, his face beamed with excitement reminiscent of the joy he had exhibited when presenting my wedding dress. Clutching several bags and brandishing a blindfold, he insisted I wear it, while he orchestrated a surprise intended to elevate our spirits. Guiding me to the futon, he encouraged a deep breath before the atmosphere shifted. What started as anticipation turned into a sharp pain searing through the inside of my elbow. Instinctively, I recoiled, but Greyjoy's firm grip restrained me, intensifying the discomfort as the sharp object pressed deeper. Although I initially resisted, fatigue overcame my resolve, rendering me too weary to continue the struggle. Upon regaining consciousness, my mind buzzed with confusion. The fog that enveloped my thoughts resisted dispersal, keeping me suspended in a disorienting realm between dreams and clarity. Gradually, I triumphed over the haze and awareness returned. I found myself lying face down on the futon, entirely unclothed. A blanket shielded my lower body, but the chill from the air conditioning vent above exposed my upper torso to the cold air. I tried to move and wake myself up, but sharp pains made me stop. I wanted the dull and painless feelings from before, but it was too late. I only felt pain, a sharp, lasting pain up my spine and down my arms. It warned me not to move. My senses came back strongly. My heart felt like it wanted to break my chest, and I couldn't breathe well. Panic set in as I tried to breathe and move, but each breath and movement felt like my skin wanted to rip. Hey, settle down." Greyjoy's voice came from behind me, soft and comforting. His hand touched my head, stroking my hair a bit, giving me a moment of relief. I still thought Greyjoy was my safe person until he said something alarming. "You'll rip out the stitches, my angel." Stitches?" I asked with a shaky voice, surprised. Why do I have stitches?" Greyjoy kneeled next to me, putting a cold hand on my face. His eyes were wide and excited, but now I saw it was more like madness and craziness. "Your wings, angel. I gave you your wings," he exclaimed, his excitement resembling a child on Christmas morning. I tried to talk, but I couldn't quite understand what he meant. My thoughts wavered between trying to figure out what he did and doubting that he could do such a thing to me. My attempts at speech turned into a jumbled mess of uncertainty. Shh, Greyjoy hushed me, placing his finger on my lips, his pride barely contained. I'll show you. He displayed a picture on his smartphone. In it, I was unconscious, lying face down on the futon, and true to Greyjoy's words, there were wings on my back. The pain I felt matched the wings' shape and size, stretching up my spine and across to my elbows. Rows of medium-sized white feathers covered the wings in imperfect overlapping patterns. Isn't it perfect? Greyjoy asked. All I could manage through shaky, tear-filled breaths was a question, what did you do to me? This is what you wanted, Angel. A little gratitude wouldn't hurt, scolded Greyjoy, as if I were a stubborn child refusing to eat dinner. He went on to explain the lengths he went to make it happen, expecting appreciation. Greyjoy stole anesthesia, a stitch kit, and actual human skin grafts from the hospital where he worked. He shaped them into wing-like forms, stitched them onto my skin, and attached feathers he bought from a craft store. I was crying again, and it made Greyjoy more upset. The angrier he got, the more I cried, which made him really mad. Through my tears, I begged him to take the wings out and let me go home to my real parents. Suddenly, Greyjoy slapped my face hard, making my vision flash for a moment. He yelled, "We're married now, Angel. This is your home," pointing angrily at my face. I tried to get up despite the pain from the stitches, but Greyjoy grabbed my hair and slammed me back down on my face. Before I could try again, I felt another needle in my arm. I don't know how long I was asleep, but when I woke up again, the early morning light was coming through the curtains. The sharp pains were worse and my whole back was really sore. I tried to move, but not only did the pain stop me, but tight ropes were also squeezing my wrists. Thin ropes, like the ones used for bracelets, were tied very tight around my wrists, making my fingers feel tingly. The other ends were tied to the futon frame with no slack. Greyjoy sat in a chair next to me, his expression softened but still unsettling. I flinched when he reached out to touch my face, but instead of hitting me, he gently caressed my cheeks. Now, it's okay. I'm sorry I got mad earlier. I'm sure you were shocked, and that's okay. But look, you're my angel now. I gave you angel wings and it's sexy. I asked him to untie me, explaining that it hurt, but I was careful not to upset him again. Greyjoy refused, insisting that I needed to stay still for my stitches to heal. You need to get healthy, my angel, so you can focus on being healthy for the baby. The baby? I asked, terrified about where this was heading, but too scared to make him angry again. We're going to have a baby, he announced with a big smile while undoing his pants. I know that will make us happy. No, please not right now. I'm not ready. I don't want to be pregnant, and I'm not ready to be a mom, I cried. You are ready to be a mom, he confidently told me. I objected again, but he pulled the sheet off of me and did it anyway. After he finished and was getting ready to leave for work, he took out a syringe from his bag. I told him I felt fine and asked if he could just leave the TV on for me. To make it convincing, I expressed my love and puckered my lips for a kiss. It disgusted me to kiss him, a feeling I once enjoyed, but I knew that if I had any chance of escaping, I needed him to trust me. Luckily, he put the syringe down before leaving, but not before sealing my mouth with duct tape. I waited for at least 30 minutes after he left before daring to move. Once I was sure he was at work, I began my attempt to escape. I tugged at the ropes, enduring the pain and wriggling my hands to loosen the knots. With each pull, the rope tightened, squeezing my hands until my fingers turned pale, and blood from my wrists soaked the futon. Realizing my efforts were not only useless but making things worse, I needed something sharp. However, I had no way to move and obtain anything sharp. The only cutting tool available to me was my teeth. I pulled from my already sore wrists, crying out as the cord cut into the flesh. My skin tightened across my back, causing searing pain through the sutures. The stitches pulled, threatening to burst through. Some of the sutures tore through my skin, but with one final painstaking effort, my mouth was finally close enough to my hands. I used the edge of the duct tape to free my mouth. It took some time, but I managed to bite into the rope. Sadly, my tooth sank into the cut on my wrist, causing pain. Despite that, I kept biting until the rope gave way. It didn't do much, but it gave me hope. I bit again and again until I finally freed my right wrist. Though it hurt, blood started flowing back into my hand. I worked on the restraints on my left hand with my hand and teeth, and soon, I was free. It was already afternoon, and I was scared Greyjoy might return home soon. I only had enough time to put on sweatpants before running from the house. I couldn't wear a shirt because of the thing on my back. The pain in my back was really bad, and blood was running down from torn stitches. Feeling sick and weak from the medicine and lack of food, I stumbled out of the door. My wing caught on the door frame, tearing a fresh wound in my back. I barely made it up the stairs, leaning heavily on the railing. I dashed across the front lawn and into the road, my bare feet wincing as my heels pounded on loose pebbles. I screamed for help so loudly that my dry throat felt like it was being sliced open from the inside, desperately hoping someone, anyone, would hear. I didn't realize he was coming until Greyjoy grabbed onto the wing he had crudely sewn to my body. The tearing sound of my skin from my back echoed as the wing detached completely. Then, my head was wrenched back from Greyjoy's grip on my hair. A forceful blow to my head resulted in a flash in my vision, and when I could see again, the scorching asphalt burned into the fresh, open wounds on my back. Greyjoy loomed over me, his crushing weight already closing my throat. "Till death do we part, Angel, and that will be the only way we part," Greyjoy grunted, using all his strength to ensure I would never breathe again. I clawed at his hands, desperate for air, desperate to live long enough to see my family one more time. Suddenly, with a thunderous boom, Greyjoy's head disintegrated into unrecognizable and misshapen mush. Air painfully rushed back through my throat as thick, hot blood covered my face and torso. The old man softly grasped my hand, putting his shotgun aside. I tried to speak, but he gently shushed me. Sirens approached, and I surrendered to the pain and exhaustion, knowing that my nightmare was over. I woke up in the hospital, thankfully without wings, with my parents at my side. With their help, I've been healing, physically and emotionally. The elderly man who saved me was also hospitalized for a minor brain hemorrhage, but he too will be okay. My family wasted no time forgiving and helping me heal. The scars on my back, shaped like the wings I had wished for, serve as a daily reminder to trust nobody but myself and my family. What emotions do you think the protagonist felt when the elderly man intervened to save them? How would you react to waking up in the hospital after such a traumatic event and seeing your family by your side? Do you believe the scars on the protagonist's back, resembling wings, serve as a powerful metaphor for trust and betrayal?